Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to welcome you to Parowan High School's 2020-2021 Virtual Veterans Assembly. We would like to start by first thanking all our special visitors, veterans, and their families. The Parowan High School Choir will now sing our national anthem. Will everyone in your homes and classrooms please rise?
Oh, sing and you sing, like the dawn's early light. What so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous night. Oh, the we march, why so gallantly streaming, and all his blood, no one's mercy may live. Gave through the night, glad the flag was still there. Oh, say God's the stars spangled banner yet wave. For the land of free, and on the
Thank you. You may be seated. We will now follow the program as outlined. We will have Danica Jones, the senior class president, introduce us with her speech, and then we will have the junior class sing America the Beautiful. Following that song, Lena Biasi and Zoe Oldroyd, the Cool to Care president and junior prom chair, will also give a speech. The presentation of the Parowan High School veterans, made by Max Benson, the student body historian, will then be presented. Following that presentation, Brooklyn Pace will then give a speech, who is the PHS student body secretary. God Bless the USA will then be sung by the senior class. Adam Edwards will then explain the service anthems, who is the PHS student body treasurer. The service anthems will then be sung by the senior class.
A year after an armistice or ceasefire was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, effectively ending World War I, President Woodrow Wilson declared November 11th Armistice Day. In commemorating this day, President Wilson spoke these powerful words: "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in this country's service and the gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing which has been freed and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." Although Armistice Day was originally created to honor those who fought in World War I, over the years, more wars have been fought and it has become known as Veterans Day, in which we honor all the veterans who bravely fought for our country. Every year, here at Parowan High School, faculty and students spend hours preparing for this special event. We take time out of class to practice songs and prepare to give the veterans the sincerest demonstration of our gratitude. This year, with the ongoing pandemic, things are obviously different. There was a time in which we did not know if we were going to be able to put on this assembly, but our amazing staff here at PHS knew how important this assembly was for the community and found a way to make it happen. Many people question why it is so important and why we make such a big deal of Veterans Day here at PHS. Well, honoring these brave men and women in an assembly is such a little thing in comparison to all that they have done for us. Quote, "For many veterans, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from family, miss the births of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in wild jungles, lose limbs, and far too often lose their lives. Our country is currently going through a time of great distress and separation. During these times, it is vital that we not only remember the great freedoms that we have, but also those who have fought to defend our freedoms. Recognizing and honoring these veterans is the glue that can keep our country together. The vast majorities of Americans proclaim their love for our veterans, especially on days like today. While our feelings are usually sincere, it is important to remember that veterans are defending us every day of the year. The heroism that has been demonstrated time and time again by veterans who have fought in numerous wars is sometimes unnoticed by those who enjoy the security that their sacrifice has provided. By definition, a hero is someone who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Veterans are heroes in every sense of the word. They have sacrificed, shown great courage, and nobly defended our country, all to protect the freedoms that we far too often take for granted. These true heroes walk among us daily. These are humble men and women who selflessly put their lives on the line to protect us every day and ask for little in return for their service. We can honor these brave veterans through simple ways. Little things we can do to help the veterans feel appreciated are small in comparison to what they have done for us, but they are so important. Simple things such as a genuine smile, thanking them for their service, listening to their stories, and respecting the flag that represents all the freedoms they have fought so hard to protect can make all the difference in the world. To the students watching this today, I invite you to recognize veterans that you interact with often. Maybe they are family members, maybe they are neighbors or people you know in the community. There may be more than you realize. Take time to identify a few people in your life who are veterans. Take time today to send them a quick message, give them a phone call, or even stop by their homes and express your sincerest gratitude for what they have done for you personally. Our debt to these heroes can never be repaid, but our gratitude and respect may last forever.
I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. As you all know, we are here today in honor of veterans. Servicemen and women have all sacrificed something in order to keep our country free and safe. That is something we truly admire and are very thankful for.
Here at Parowan High School, we use the term True Rams to set the standard of how we should act. While this is just an acronym used to help high school students know how we're supposed to act, it can also be applied to everyone else's lives. Since it's Veterans Day, we're going to talk specifically about how it can be used in veterans' lives.
The R in RAM stands for respectful. All of our students here are expected to be respectful to our peers and teachers while we are in a school setting. Outside of school, we are also taught to be respectful to those around us, our elders, and ourselves. Respect is a basic principle that should be used in all aspects of our lives. And here at our school, we know that. One of the things I admire most about veterans is how they show respect to our country and our flag.
The A in True Ram stands for accountability. While we are obviously taught here at PHS to be accountable with basic school tasks like studying and doing homework, we're also taught to be accountable for all of the choices we make. By being taught to be accountable now, we are able to better prepare for our future. Veterans have been faced with more difficult tasks than many of us have ever experienced. Veterans are accountable for standing up with bravery in response to these difficult tasks they face.
The M stands for making a difference. There are many different ways that we can do this. We are taught that we don't have to do something big in order to make a difference in someone's life. We actually try to focus on the smaller things that we can do to help out. By serving our country, veterans have made a difference in our lives that we are able to see every day. Without their service, our free country would be a very different place.
The S is for serving others. Serving others is something that's very important to us here at PHS. We encourage students to volunteer with events and service projects in our community. We even have a whole day set aside at the end of the school year just for service. Veterans have served us in more ways than we can describe. The service that they have done for our country is something we are all very grateful for.
Most of us will never know the sacrifices you have made. For those of us who have never served, we can only shake your hand, smile, and then thank you for your service, for defending our country in time of war, in time of peace, and for defending our freedom abroad. Thank you. We want you to know that these few words of gratitude mean so much more than we can express. You are defenders, liberators, peacekeepers, and symbols of hope. You are patriots. In honor and remembrance of your service, Happy Veterans Day.
It's the guts and it's the glory, 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Stand on these front lines. He'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey. My dear son, it's almost June. I hope this letter catches up with you and finds you well. It's been dry, but they're calling for rain, and everything's the same old same in Johnsonville. Your stubborn old daddy ain't said too much, but I'm sure you know he sends his love. And she goes on in a letter from home. I hold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy, and they all laugh like there's something funny about the way I talk. when I say mama sends her best, y'all. I fold it up and put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on letters from home. My dearest love, it's almost dawn. I've been lying here all night long, wondering where you might be. I saw your mama and I showed her the ring. Man on a television said something, so I couldn't sleep. But I'll be alright, I'm just missing you. And this is me kissing you, X's and O's, in a letter from home. I hold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy, and they all laugh, cause she calls me honey, but they take it hard, cause I don't read the good part. I fold it up and put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on.
Our nation's history, which we hold so dear to us today, has left an impact that will never and can never be forgotten. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we are not makers of history, we are made by history. The truths of our nation's past are what we have cultivated our country into what it is today. The great strides we have made to improve this great nation are evidence to this impact left by history. Modern medicines, national power held throughout the world, technological advances, and so much more are all evident to the fact that our choices and decisions we made in the past are direct influencers to our nation's progress today. Ralph Steadman, world-renowned illustrator, brought up a great point about learning from past history. He said, "There is no such thing as a mistake, really, just an opportunity to do something else." The choices and decisions we as a country made in the past have influenced our nation at great measures, so that the choices and decisions we choose to make in the present are stronger and better than ever before. Although learning from our nation's past history has helped us become better at making future decisions, there are elements of the past that are solidified in our lifestyles still to this day. Servicemen and women who choose every day to risk not only their lives, but the absence of their presence in their family lives are still honored greatly by our nation. Veteran men and women who give up everything they have and every decision of their future to join together to fight for a great nation are respected and loved by so many Americans. These relationships between our nation and our veterans will never change. We thank you, veterans, and your families today for choosing to make that great sacrifice for our beloved United States of America. Solidified in our minds still today is also the love and pride we have for this beloved country. 1777, Betsy Ross stitched the first American flag that was adopted by the Congress. 1784, the Star-Spangled Banner edition of the flag was adopted after the addition of 2 more U.S. states. Both years, 1861 and 1912, editions of the Star-Spangled Banner flag were modified due to the increasing growth of our nation. And finally, in 1959, our current Stars and Stripes flag was born. Since then, the United States, as well as its citizens, have flown this flag to symbolize the pride we have for our nation. The pride and love each and every one of us has for our great country is all thanks to the impact history has had on us. Today, we choose to remember our great nation and honor those servicemen and women, along with our brave veterans. We have so much gratitude for where we live today. I, as well as everyone here today, would like to honor our veterans and thank them for willingly choosing to fight for our great nation. Thank you.
Children in my life, I
Thank you. Thank you to all of you that are here with us physically and also in spirit. You have done us a great service. You sacrificed so much and asked for nothing in return. We are lucky enough to have many veterans in our community. I'm related to a few. My grandma and grandpa served in the military. They were the first couple to enlist and join the Army, and they were both flag trainees. Mr. Shirtliff is one of our many veterans that we have in our community. He gave me a couple of very touching stories about battles and close calls. He said that he wanted to scratch all that because it only made sense to him. He said, if you had to tell him anything from me, tell them about this. If you go to the monument for veterans between the public park and the church, there's a pillar on the back side of it is a saying that says, when you go home, tell them of us and say for our tomorrow we gave our todays. A poem by Clive Sanders called Unless You've Been a Soldier is really inspiring, and I'd like to share it with you. It goes, unless you've been a soldier, you just won't understand the things that we've seen and done. We've trained to live in combat and cope with awful sights. We should have been seen by anyone, and we keep you awake at night. We don't discuss the wounds we have, the body or the mind. We just put our hearts behind us and our memories to blind. We are proud and serve our country. Remember those we've lost. For the freedom we have today, they paid the awful cost. Both my grandpa and a distant cousin of mine served in the Air Force. They both died in the service of our country. I've never known either of them, but I've heard many great stories about these great men. We all have loved ones that have passed in the service of our country. They died with honor. People recognize the service not only by the veterans, but the families. President Abraham Lincoln wrote a letter to Miss Bix about her loss of her 5 sons. And it says, I feel how weak and fruitless must be the words of mine, which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of such an overwhelming loss. But I cannot refrain from tendering you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assume the anguish of your bereavement and leave you to only cherish the memory of the lost and loved. The solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly the sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. We should remember every day, not just the veterans on the Veteran Day, and sacrifice the brave men and women of the armed forces that have done so much for us. They're willing to give everything for us, for our today's, tomorrows, our hopes and dreams, and our peace. We need to earn that sacrifice by living the best lives we can, and be the best citizens of this great country that we can be, so that we may earn this costly sacrifice they placed on the altar of freedom. There's a touching quote in our school that says, the true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him. These brave men and women all have something to motivate them to keep them going, to be the best and serve our country, and to keep us safe and free. Today is a day we honor all those who have served this country in war, peace, dead or alive. This holiday is important to the families of the military and those who served. It is honors for them to have sacrificed. We have our freedoms because of you and your service. Your service has made it possible for all of us to live in the amazing country we live in today, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I thank you for your service.
Thank you for attending our virtual Veterans Assembly. We thank all servicewomen, servicemen, and veterans for their service.